Okay. You're going.
Today I'm going to talk to you about two very scary words, nuclear energy, and hopefully teach you about how they aren't actually scary words and are in fact safe and reliable. As the demand for electricity increases, the demand for electricity plants also increases. And with them currently using fossil fuels, that's very dangerous for everybody, whereas nuclear power would be a safe alternative. Fossil fuels release carbon dioxide and sulfur into the air. Carbon dioxide destroys the ozone layer, which exposes us to solar radiation and causes more skin cancer, and sulfur mixes in the atmosphere with clouds and causes acid rain, which destroys buildings, plant life, and animal life. Fossil fuels are also dangerous. Every year, 10 to 50,000 people die of respiratory diseases related to the burning of fossil fuels, and 300 people die in accidents related to the mining and transportation of fossil fuels. Whereas with nuclear power and uranium, nobody has ever died in its day-to-day use, and there have never been any accidents related to the transportation or mining of it. Uranium is also a more reliable fuel source because it is evenly distributed across the globe, and therefore is much more resistant to a shortage. The biggest concern of nuclear power is a meltdown, which is when the coolant water is released from the reactor and the fuel source begins to heat up. This is prevented by the reactor being housed in a 9-inch thick steel shell surrounded by 4 feet of concrete. And this is all housed inside a steel reinforced concrete dome, which is resistant to earthquakes and even being hit by an airplane. There are also multiple water pumps designed to pour more water into the reactor in case there is a meltdown, and cooling the fuel long enough for maintenance workers to repair the reactor. Another concern of nuclear power is the release of radiation into the environment. Well, radiation is measured in milligrams, and it takes 200 milligrams taken almost immediately to get radiation sickness, but you would still recover. Every year, everybody on the planet is exposed to 200 milligrams of radiation, just in the things around us, and radiation from space. If all the energy in the US was changed to nuclear energy, the amount of milligrams would increase by only 1/5 of a milligram, or people would have taken less than 1% more radiation. The biggest difficulty of using nuclear energy is finding a place to store the waste. Right now, waste disposal sites are either filled up too quickly because they're too small, or they aren't even used because public outcry shuts them down before they can be used. I hope today I've shown you why nuclear energy is not actually a scary thing, and how it is a much safer and more reliable alternative energy than what we currently use.
Good.